विश्व में हमने युवाओं की IT एनर्जी के माध्यम से अपना एक रुतबा खड़ा किया है और भारत इसके बात के लिए गर्व कर सकता है। दुनिया में हम आंख में आंख मिला करके बात कर सकते हैं। और ये मेरा साफ मैं हमेशा कहता आया हूँ, IT plus IT is equal to IT. Information technology plus Indian talent is equal to India tomorrow.
Morning, everybody. I'm Karthik Sharma, Managing Editor at LS Technomedia, and I welcome all of you in the second day opening session of second annual ELETS India Transformation Summit. We are fortunate enough that around more than 85 uh, policy makers, industry leaders are participating in this two-day conclave on the ideas and views and ideas and innovations around how to transform governance with innovations, maybe digital or non-digital. Yesterday was a great day when we had various panel discussions and fireside chats with various leaders in this governance sector and also the industry sector. And today we are having the another day, which is day two, and opening session can not be better than this when we have uh, the opening session of day two on a very important topic, which is digital governance for effective and last mile citizen engagement. This opening session on digital governance, we have eminent speakers here who have their experiences with digital governance and especially with the last mile citizen engagement and delivery. And they'll be talking about the initiatives here in this panel discussion. I would like to uh, introduce to the panelists of this discussion to you all. I'll start with Mr. Shashwat Saurabh, Special Secretary for IT and Communication and Secondary Education in Government of Arunachal Pradesh. Warm welcome to you, Mr. Shashwat Saurabh. And then,
thank you, Mr. Karthik.
Thank you for joining us. I also welcome Mr. Prashant Kumar Mittal, Managing Director of National Informatics Center Services, NIXT, Ministry of IT, Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India. Thank you very much, Mr. Mittal, for joining us. And then I introduce you all to Mr. Adarsh Singh, District Magistrate and Collector, Barabaki, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Welcome, Mr. Adarsh Singh. I also introduce you to Dr. Manoranjan Puthal, Managing Director of Odisha Knowledge Corporation Limited, OKCL. Welcome, Dr. Manoranjan. And now we'll be starting with this panel discussion. All of you here in this discussion must have their experiences with digital governance and effective last mile citizen engagement and delivery. I would like to request each of the panelists to start with their own
bigger, better, cheaper, faster,
and share your experiences
explain
and last mile citizen engagement. I would like to start with you, Mr. Shashwat Saurabh. Special Secretary, you are looking after IT and communication, and also the secondary education aspect of the state, which has seen a lot of digital innovations in this COVID-19 period. So I would like to request you to please start with your initial remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Karthik. Very good morning to all the fellow panelists and my seniors in the service who are present in this panel discussion. It's been merely 6 to 7 months that I have joined Government of Arunachal Pradesh as a Special Secretary IT. So in this last 6 to 7 months, my experience, I would like to share that after my joining, we had a task of tackling few issues which we were handling, which pertain to IT as well as to education sector. So we had this proxy teachers issue. So we had directives from the government that this has to be handled, but if we have some sort of IT solutions, then we can at least engage the citizens as well, so that the social monitoring or some kind of social auditing in the school can happen. So we uh, thought about this, and we thought that why not put the details of each and every teacher present in the school in the public domain. So we have developed from the in-house team itself one web portal as well as mobile application here, wherein uh, we have put the data of around 17,000 teachers in the public domain with the information like their name, their father's name, their subject, what they are teaching, their schools, which school they are posted in, since when they are posted in. So the challenges which we were facing in this particular project was we had very limited time, since it was directed directly from the top of the government, and this issue was very much highlighted in the media, that bogus teachers and proxy teachers. I'm pretty sure other states were also facing this sort of problem. So we had very limited time, and the collection of the data in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, which is having connectivity issues and various other administrative issues as well because of the remote and geographical adverse situations. So we had this limited time, and what we did that we collaborated with all the DDOs across the state, and we made a plan. So this was possible only because of the various solutions provided in the information and technologies. So we have the social media, Google Forms. So we leverage all these tools, and then we collaborated, held several meetings, and within a week period, we could manage 15,000 entries in this particular portal, which we developed over a period of 2 weeks. So simultaneously, these works were going on. So it was very interesting. This was my first stint with the IT. So dealing with digital governments and engaging citizens is very, very difficult. And engaging the people who are already in the government sector is really very difficult, because you get to have various resistance that why such solutions are being brought in, because we are putting their details in the public domain, so they have this fear, and obviously we are bringing in reform, and every reform has its own reluctance in the within the system itself. But we could overcome all these, and we could bring each and everyone on board. But it could be possible only because we had this uh, good tools which we used, and through this mobile application, web and mobile interfaces, that we showed them that this is how it is going to be. And it was very simple. Sometimes we think that making a portal and mobile application, it's a big job, but it is very, very simple. And if you have clear ideas, your objectives are very, very clear, you have your system architecture in front of you, and you have a good team, then it is very much possible. So it was very well appreciated, our efforts, and Honorable CM, in fact, he launched this particular portal last month itself. So I'm very happy to share with my fellow panelists and through you to all the participants or whoever would be listening that this sort of uh, innovation plus the IT solutions which can bring in reforms and which can bring the confidence of the people in the system are very much needed. And at times we think that this may be taking long time, this may have various repercussions, but we have to factor in all the details. And if citizens are made aware about these initiatives pretty well, because it is eventually be benefiting them, that their children are going to study in this particular school, which teacher is teaching, whether this particular teacher is genuine or not. He can through this particular portal, I would like to inform that not only we have put the details of the teachers, but we have provided mechanism of registering their grievances as well. So if someone has found anything wrong, any sort of grievances, they can register there. We have put all the this OTP authentication and all, so that we have this genuine grievances only. So, and we are putting this, it's a smaller version of CP grams, you can say. So within the education department, we are having this grievance redressal system. So citizen can very well see the details, plus if they find any issue, they can report it as well. So this is how we have developed. This is one of my experience. We have in the last 6 to 7 months, we have developed several other portals as well, and brought in some innovations in the existing systems in Arunachal Pradesh, but they are underway right now. So this is one of the important initiative I wanted to share with the panels. Thank you, Mr. Karthik.
Right, Mr. Shashwat. Actually, I think you are making the best use of being in both the departments, education and IT, and you are clubbing them for better, best use of both the domains. And I think it is very right. I'll come to you about the more digital ideas for both for education and IT sector. I would like to now, because the good thing about this session is that we have people from district administration, state administration, and from center. So we'll get to know all the aspects from all the levels of administration. I would now request Mr. Prashant Kumar Mittal. Mr. Mittal, you are part of a very important organization. You're heading a very important organization, National Informatics Center Services Incorporation, NICSI, which is a part of Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India. When whatever steps being taken at the center level, it impacts the whole country at state level, at district level. So I would like to know from you that what sort of experiences are there from NICSI, and what sort of new things NICSI is doing in terms of digital governance to benefit the people at the last mile. Mr. Prashant Kumar Mittal.
Thank you, and I am grateful that such a thoughtful discussion has been planned by ELATS. As explained by Mr. Shashwat, that in changed conditions, the responsibility of citizen engagement and the responsibility of IT and all the departments have increased many-fold during last 10 years or so. And the COVID conditions have also increased and have worked as a catalyst to this thought process. And I should tell that if, as it has been in your film, you have also said, showed the clip of Honorable Prime Minister that IT plus IT is equal to IT. I fully endorse that. And during last my 33 years of career in IT, I used to put in it the same thing in different way. Rather, it may sound negative, but भारत के हालात यदि सूचना प्रौद्योगिकी मतलब कोई बदल सकता है तो सूचना प्रौद्योगिकी ही बदल सकती है, और ये भी फेल हो गई तो कोई भविष्य नहीं. So I should say that IT has come up in a stronger way in every quarter. Every quarter, you talk about the medical, you talk about marketing, and everywhere you will find digital endorsed with the code, mechatronics, digital health, digital marketing. So everywhere digital has been prefixed with the core branch or the core thing. And if we talk about the strength of our country, it demographic, I think you can dividend is the value. And when we talk about the reaching out to the last mile, perhaps our founder, DG, Dr. N. Seshagiri, put that in our logo, that NIC is for bridging the digital divide. So he has foreseen it around 35 years before, that even we are producing good software, good gadgets. If it is not serving citizen at mass, it is not of greater use. But there are certain challenges also. If we talk about the reaching out, the last mile, even if we are trying our hard, it is not getting returned in the same way when government is pushing. And yesterday I was having a meeting with the secretary, that Consumer Forum, Ms. Dina Nandan, and we were discussing some IT projects which have been implemented in under Confonet umbrella. Government has introduced one system where one can register its consumer appeal up to value of 5 lakh without paying a fees on online portal. E-Dakhil is the name of the portal. And it has been found that because it is not having any fees associated with the registration, because Act says like that, lot many fake things, or just for the sake of registering something, people are using that code. So there is a need not only to engage citizen, but also to find out such you can say people who want to just make mockery of such help which government is rendering for real sufferers. So when I talk about the citizen engagement, it is a two-way thing. Not only government has to reach to citizen have to accept that in very responsible manner. And because objective is to empower citizen in the decision-making process and making the government functioning more effective. So we are, as our district collectors and our special secretary and the Odisha Knowledge Corporation officials are there. We all are striving hard to put that bridge between citizen to government with a smooth digital info way. It is in the form of communication link, it is in the form of IT, and it is in the form of easy access to information. If we talk about the two-way, upwards, it has come from citizen to government and downwards from government to citizen. And I should say that it is working well. People are using PG Grams portal. People are using faceless driving license thing. People are exploring open data. People are getting benefit of MyGov. So there are ample number of examples. I am talking about the central one, but there are certain applications which are getting implemented with the help of state government. And I should thank Odisha state government, where we had implemented their core model of inviting applications for the skill trainings. And when earlier to being in NIXI, I was there heading IT setup in Ministry of Rural Development. So under DDU-GKY, we had implemented that thing. So it is a federated thing, and with the collaborative efforts of all the states, we are implementing, and we are reaching out, because state officials and state agency are the real agencies who can gather the information in more realistic manner. I may think something sitting in Delhi, but it may not be applicable for Arunachal Pradesh. It may be the case. So to reap the benefits, we should first try that our systems and our offering should be in a very, you can say, ergonomic, and should be able to reach to the last mile. Last mile means even if my citizen is having a feature phone, I should be able to render a digital service to him or her. Because though not many smartphones are being percolated in the rural area also, but the device had been a challenge, but now device is not a challenge. People are using it for Paytm and other things. Even rural people are getting benefit of digital tools and technology. And when we talk about government or the planning or scheme formation, we need to have some data which can be collected either as secondary source or primary source. With the availability of these tools, I think these days we are able to gather data from the primary source. And my friend from Barabanki can tell that with the help of these small mobile apps, we could gather the data of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. When we were planning for inclusion of more beneficiaries, which were not able to be listed under SECC 2011 census. So we were able, with the help of district collectors and district program DPCs of MGNREGA, we are now reaching out to the last mile, because if we see, the NREGA worker is the most vulnerable entity as a citizen, because whosoever is not having any means for earning, they are coming for MGNREGA work. So we, with the help of our technology tool and capacity building exercises being done by district collectors and the block development officer, we are there. And at present, more than 98% Gram Panchayats are having e-muster roll implemented, and digital payments are being done directly into workers' accounts. So these are few cases, and like PM Jan Dhan Yojana, PM Kisan, there are several schemes which have landed all the bouquet of benefits to their doorstep. And but when we talk about, because it is not good in all the schemes, there are certain challenges also, because we have to be sure that whom we are engaging is the real needy, whom to engage and how many to engage. We should not invite too many things if we are having limited food prepared. So this is the basic thing we have learned during our daily course. And when we are going for the data collection, because when we are planning something, we need the data. And so the volume, variety, and velocity of data which shall be coming from field should be very carefully examined. One of very eminent sociology expert has told in one meeting at RD that if you are gathering more than 10 to 12 attributes, there are fair chances that you are going to induce noise in your survey. So this is the basic thing where we have to learn when we are going to get the data for connecting citizen with the government scheme. and there are fair chances of impersonation. We could have the good data in SECC 2011, because nobody was knowing that for what purpose this data is going to be used. But on the same side, the same time, we have to be very cautious while when you gathering the data under, because lot many bills and amendments are in plan in IT Act or data protection bills. So we should not be using the open and free tools which are available in market for such surveys. We may land into some trouble later. So data security, when we are gathering the data security should be a very, and the way in what channel it is using for gathering, everything has to be very tightly checked and secure, because no lunch comes free. I should say no lunch comes free. If somebody is offering something free, he or she may be making money out of it. So while using any tool, we should be very cautious whether, because as an administrator, it is our responsibility that when we are going to citizen and we are asking him or we are pursuing him for getting his or her information shared, it is our responsibility that the information gathered for that purpose is not being used for any other purpose than the consented one. So this is another thing. And while gathering the data, we should also check in between the quality of data, because after spending so much money and when we start analyzing, and if we find that something was missing, so it will be a very difficult task to go again. And when I should also add up the things, when we are engaging citizen, what precautions we have to take, because we know if we are engaging citizen, there are enormous benefits. There is a delta T has been reduced, money, the money which one make expenses is nearly zero. So there are certain things which we know, but there are challenges too. If we are building some channel for last mile delivery, we have to be having very cautious engagement method. So nobody tries to befool my citizen by because we are having lot many news in our everyday channels, news channels. The person got impersonated, person got false SMS, person got false link. So lot many things. Person are having false website. So many things are happening. So when we are publicizing any portal, web portal for public usage, we should also purchase lot many other nearby URLs like SBI cards. If you try, there are portal SBI cards also. So like that, we should be thinking in advance what the goons can use the digital method while we are putting some offering, and they can also impersonate URLs. So that thing should be there. And we should also.
Well, I think I have more questions to ask you.
So, please, just I should finish with one line.
Yes, yes.
That when we are putting that data at rest also, the security for data at rest and in transition, both should be taken care of by the data administrator. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry for getting a prolonged one.
That's perfectly fine. And I think whatever you have explained is very right, especially about the data security is very important when you deal with such huge data of the whole country. And I think you are very right to how to deal with the data and the other things, other precautions of what to take care of, very, very rightly mentioned. I would like to come to you now, Mr. Adarsh Singh, District Magistrate and Collector of Baramati, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Singh, generally when a center makes any scheme or a state government makes any scheme, it goes to district administration for implementation. Whatever scheme you make, if it doesn't get implemented right at the ground at the district level, then at a village level. Otherwise, then it is a failure if it's not implemented well. So you are the person who is at the implementation level. And if particularly if I talk about Barabanki, it is close to Lucknow, and I think it adds on to the importance of the city. I would like to ask you, Mr. Singh, that okay, there are government schemes, there might be digital initiatives transferred to a district administration to do that, to implement that. But I would like to ask you, in your initial remarks, just throw some light on that also. That do you need some in-house motivation or some initiatives to be taken by the collector himself, district magistrate himself, to implement IT to actually solve the local problem, as Mr. Prashant Mittal said, that there can be different problems with different places. So should there be a localization of any initiative, or all that I request you to speak in your initial remarks on your experiences with digital governance and last mile delivery. Mr. Singh.
Thank you so much. I'll come back to the question a little later. I'll start with an anecdote. It's been 15 years I've spent in this service, and I started as in my probation days as a block development officer. I was earlier in the Tripura cadre, Manipur Tripura cadre, and the block was one of the most remote blocks of Tripura state. I remember as the block development officer in your initial years of service, you feel as if you're going to transform the world, you're going to change the world, and you'll usher in a new and sort of new work environment of where there is no corruption, where there is complete transparency. And one of the days I was sitting in my office, and I got a person who came to my office, and he complained that one of the works that had been sanctioned under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, at that point of time it was known only as NREGA. That work had actually not taken place. Machines had been used instead of manual labor, and so on and so forth. And we have to bear in mind that one of the finest MISs that has ever been created for any government scheme has been, and the first MIS was that of Manrega. So 15 years ago, I think this was one of the few schemes, if not the only scheme, that had such a brilliant MIS that you could get everything that you wanted about anything that has been done in any part of the country through that MIS. So I immediately went into that, logged into my account as a BDO in the MIS. I got all the vouchers, all the muster rolls, everything that I could possibly get about that particular work. Next day, I went to the field, compared it, and lo and behold, the complaint was actually true. The work had actually been carried out by through machines, and the muster roll contained the names of people who had done absolutely no work. So it was pretty easy to sort of get hold of the complaint and to file a report. And of course, it took a lot of time, 2 to 3 years, but finally action was taken against the government officials who were responsible for this. So this was my sort of first experience of what information technology can actually do, the power it gives to people who want to use it to bring about transparency, to bring about good governance. In the past 15 years, of course, we have seen this has become a revolution, the IT revolution, if we can call it. And thankfully, for good or for bad, we as government officers have had to sort of kind of adjust to it. Not many of us are very happy with it, because a lot of our powers, privileges, and discretion is also being lost because of the fact that now things have become so transparent, and everything is available on these portals and on these websites. Before this tenure, I was in the I had the privilege of working in the Honorable Chief Minister office, and this government, this particular government in UP, came with an agenda of sort of reducing the interface between the government and the people, and of using IT as a platform to maximize service delivery. While there were a number of projects that we launched at that point of time, which have seen the light of day, the most famous of which is, of course, the Nivesh Mitra portal, which is a single-stop solution for all the licenses and the NOCs that are required for setting up any kind of factory or industrial unit in UP. All the departments were brought together on board, and it was a single portal where people could apply. But two initiatives that I would like to mention, which are very close to my heart and which I would like to take credit for also, is one of these is something known as the Haisiyat Praman Patra. Haisiyat in English, it translates literally to status. It is an important certificate which is required by any person who wants to apply for any tender, government tender in UP. You need a Haisiyat Praman Patra. It basically tells you about what is the financial status of that person, the property he owns, the movable, immovable property, etc., etc. And if your Haisiyat is above a certain amount, only then are you able to apply for a certain kind of tender. Earlier, of course, this used to be a manual process. People used to apply then to the district magistrate office. The application was then sent to the SDM office, to the police office, and it used to take a lot of time. And obviously, there was a lot of scope for greasing all the way. There were a lot of vested interests which did not want this particular sort of certificate to be made online. So we had to fight them. But ultimately, we did that. We used technology, and we also ensured that not a single paper was sent physically to any office. The person need only to apply on this portal, and the papers were automatically transferred to the concerned SDM office or to the SP office, and on the basis of those reports, digital signatures were at every step. The officers had to use digital signatures, and a time frame was fixed, and within 15 days this happened. It is such an enormous success in our state, because I remember before this, the pendencies used to be huge. A, and B, there was no way to know what is pending. The only way you could know if your Babu tells you that these forms are pending. But in actuality, the number was 10 times what you were being told. The second was another very important thing, and that was what is called the Avivadat Virasat, which is again, it translates into uncontested mutation. So when a person dies in a village, his land holdings are to be sort of mutated in the name of his legal heirs, and the time period fixed by the government in its rules is 13 days. Something to do with the terahi that happens when a person dies. Again, this was a very convoluted process. The rules stated that the person could not apply. It was the Lekhpal, the revenue functionary, who had to go to the village, find out, and then start the process. It used to take years in many cases, and again, there was no way to track what is happening and what is not happening. So we first had to tinker with the rules. We made it possible for the person to apply, the legal heir to apply once the person has died. And again, end-to-end complete sort of portal was developed, and within 13 days, it was ensured that the person got his uncontested mutation certificate. Again, this has been an astounding success, and we have had Abhiyans which have been launched, where lakhs have been made in the state in a matter of 10 days. So there are a number of other examples. The public distribution system has been completely transformed by the use of biometric machines. During COVID times also, we saw that the sampling, the cluster approach, we could know where we need to sample more, where the infection is spreading. And even during the when vaccination was started, we knew what is the numbers that we are dealing with, where we had to focus more. So it has been completely transformed. My last point would only be, and I'll then answer your question, is that of course we are all now adjusted to it, geared up to it, but somehow I feel that the government architecture, we have still not been dealing with the fact that all this requires a lot of data crunching, a lot of data entry, and our staff is at the lower level is maybe not attuned to it. And I can understand there are financial implications of recruiting more staff or setting up this entire architecture, but this needs to be dealt with seriously. I was listening to Mr. Prashant Mittal, and he was very right when one of the yojnas, which is a national yojna, the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, and I remember before the Lok Sabha elections, in all the districts of the country, there was a rush for entering data. And because there was so much burden and there was so much pressure, that a lot of data that was entered, it could not be verified, and we are still struggling to sort of verify and correct it, because there is actually no architecture available in the formal setup of government to enter this data. We have to rely on outsourcing mechanisms to do it. And lastly, to answer your question, I am of the firm opinion that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. They are, especially when it comes to IT. If there is a software available which has been developed either by the central government or by the state government, we need to stick to it, and we need to ensure that we are feeding the data correctly. We don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. So I'll stop with this, and we can come back later again if maybe there are more questions. Thank you.
Right, right. And thank you so much, Mr. Adarsh Singh. And think in these 15 years, at various levels, you have experienced and you have initiated several IT innovations, which is very much right. And I think these learning also further helps when an officer with the ground level experience goes to state or to center in framing these schemes. And I think those schemes come back to the district administration. And I think you're right. The district administrations, if they rightly follow that scheme or that software, I think it makes some change. I would like to now come to you, Dr. Manoranjan Puthul. You are Managing Director of Odisha Knowledge Corporation Limited, OKCL. As per my understanding, Knowledge Corporation is for, I think, incorporating IT knowledge in the people, and you also run several courses and all that. I would like to know from you about your experiences of digital governance and last mile delivery. Dr. Manoranjan.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Kartik Sharma and all elite panel members. This is a great opportunity for me to share my thoughts and experiences on digital governance on such a visionary conference. Digital governance for effective and last mile citizen engagement is an essential topic to discuss now. Being a researcher, I believe it is an appropriate time for both the industry and the government to form a strategic partnership towards strengthening India's socio-economic development through digital empowerment by bridging the divide between digital haves and digital havens. Citizen engagement for digital governance is demand of the 21st century. The way citizens interact with the government have changed with the ICT, introductions of ICT. In a country like India, having populations more than 1.3 billion, digital governance has head-on challenge as well as many opportunities also. The efficiency of any program can be only judged if the last mile people is participating in this program and getting its benefits in the right way. Odisha Knowledge Corporation strives to create a new paradigm in education, governance, and empowerment of people at large in the context of emerging knowledge-based society and knowledge-based economy. And the current government scenario, it is all will believe that with an unprecedented mandate and the clear vision, the current government at center and in all states is pursuing ahead with digital initiatives, which has the potential to transform the lives of citizens across the length and breadth of our country. And in Odisha Knowledge Corporations, the major challenges before it to offer education, governance, and empowerment solutions and services to large and diverse populations in world-class quality at very affordable cost and widest accessibility from urban to rural, tribal and hilly areas, and in just in time manner with deeper mass personalized service experience. Out of my experience, I like to share in Odisha, we have 30 districts, and that many of the citizens, last mile citizens, are there in hilly areas and where that accessibility to government services is very much difficult. And with this experience, we are trying to create some kind of interventions by empowering them to enter into the digital service what governments are providing. If I here like to take as a case of digital inclusion, financial inclusion, or governance inclusion program of OKCL. In last 10 years, I had impacted more than 2.5 million users to lead their lives digitally. This is a true case of digital empowerment or digital transformations where the user becomes ready for the 21st century digital governance. The skills required for 21st century digital governance and digital, financial, and your governance inclusions are impactful in the area of daily life, study life, office life, and citizenship aspect of the true governance and transformations for the citizen in large, the last mile citizen in the particular. If citizens engage themselves into digital activities in every works of their life, government will successfully implement the digital activities in the society. In other words, it is very much challenging to include for the digital inclusion of the citizen because there are big six simultaneous challenges are there. Because when we are talking about digital inclusions, it is very vast, it is very bigger. And another important thing is that we're supposed to include everyone with a cheaper cost and with a personalized experience and deeper inside the society. The emerging information technology, as you know, that revolution is giving rise to global connected society. The society is generating actionable knowledge, which one is more than 90% in social media, with knowledge, creating knowledge digitally as well as collaboratively. The ability to digital technical shall therefore be critical for participating in developing and accessing new actionable knowledge and accessing new career opportunities for the youth who are there in our society. When we are talking about the youth, when we are talking about the citizens, many initiatives have been taken up by OKCL for digital empowerment and digital governance. One of our flagship program is OICIT, that is for IT literacy, that is for digital literacy program. Then when we are talking about digital literacy, IT literacy, in order to bridge the digital divide, bring the common people closer to the ethos of opportunities and knowledge-based society or knowledge-led economy, with a view to bringing the real fruits of information technology to the common masses, we are giving emphasis on digital literacy. And with this program, since last couple of years, within 10 years, we empowered more than like 1 million people. Those are now very much comfortable to engage themselves into any kind of digital initiative, digital empowerments implemented by our state government. OICIT has thus emerged as a gateway to career and global developmental opportunities for the people, for the common people, and empowering them to participate in the digital government processes. Therefore, I believe that when we are talking about people engagement, last mile people engagement, it is very much also essential to train them, infuse them the knowledge so that they will use technology in their day-to-day life. And when they will start using technology in their day-to-day life, as rightly my panel members have mentioned, and when a person is using Bhim app, when a person is using Jan Dhan Yojana, when a person is using mobile connectivity, getting mobile connectivity in the remote areas, then only the empowerment will happen. And once the empowerment will happen with the citizens, it is also very much important to induce them into digital governance for economic growth. And once they are empowered digitally, now it is important to encourage them for their economic growth through digital governance. Therefore, we are imparting a program in the name of Job Readiness Program for Youth, that is JRPY, where technology made it absolutely possible for everyone to work from anywhere and in any part of this world. The fourth industrial revolutions also encouraged that gig economy, where these students are somewhere engaging themselves rightly into the space of gig economy and transferring our society with digital governance for economic growth. Our Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Naveen Patnaik ji, also giving very much importance that if that youths are engaging themselves into that area of digital governance for economic growth, then it is possible for our country as well as for our state to achieve that trillion-dollar economy in a sustainable way, in a time-bound manner. And those people are entering into these areas. It's rightly exploring the possibilities. As you know, globally, now the global market is demanding more than 20 millions manpowers from India itself for the freelancing market. And that market is very big. That is a $20 million market. Then therefore we are empowering youth to enter into all these areas of doing so. But it is very much difficult. Then how to empower the youth? How to empower the common people those are staying in that remote areas? Therefore, OPSCL believes on public-private partnership. Through the public-private partnership, we have created thousands and thousands of digital entrepreneurs and encouraging them, insisting them to assist the common public, assist the common youth those are staying in their locality, and helping them to a part of digital governance, to a part of empowerment processes through digital governance in our state. And all these contexts are very much built upon the pillar of IT. And as per our state's mandate, we are following a mandate of 5T, and under 5T, there is an important aspect of technology. Then we believe that only by using technology, we can able to transform our society, what we are expecting for, or what we are expecting in this future. Then looking into all this, I have the questions that is it possible to include the last mile people in the digital inclusion? Is it possible to really empower them without creating right kind of infrastructure, right kind of framework in their place? The answer is very much obvious that yes, it is required to empower and empower them to create a right kind of digital engagement in our society. Hence, we can say digital empowerment leads to digital engagement. And I hope everybody will believe that digital empowerment is the only key to transform our society in a greater space. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Dr. Manoranjan. And you are right in saying that digital empowerment is very much important. The society will needs digital means for that. Rightly said. There's a question for you, Mr. Shashwat Saurabh. This question is there from audience, but I'll make it in my own way. How IT was being incorporated, how IT was being used in this COVID-19 era in school education. So this question is there. How did you manage to use IT for school education? So can you please throw some light on that?
Yes, definitely. IT was utilized during this COVID era. Not only we built one COVID dashboard for general public in this time for the government of Arunachal Pradesh, our own dynamic real-time COVID dashboard. But with respect to education, we had limitations in Arunachal Pradesh, as I mentioned earlier, that remote areas, they still do not have this connectivity, and certain districts which are having connectivity in the districts, there are limitations for the bandwidth. But we have this VSETs which were provided under the Digital India program and the BBNL, through BBNL, this VSET network we have across the state. We utilize this VSET as well as EduSet, wherein we broadcasted our classes for 9 to 12th through our headquarter studio. So that was one area where we utilized this IT in the COVID era for the education. Otherwise, we had challenges in Arunachal Pradesh. So, because of these challenges, we could not utilize, and we got responses that online classes were not very much helpful because of the limitations. But I must stress here that IT as a tool for citizen engagement is very, very critical and important, and we are striving to improve the connectivity in Arunachal Pradesh. And it is the high priority area of the government of Arunachal Pradesh. I'd just like to touch upon one thing that Mr. Prashant also said, and others also mentioned regarding the data and the data noise and the issues with the data when we collect it and the analysis of the data. So I think that's where the evaluation of our IT solutions becomes continuous evaluation becomes very, very important, because we are aiming to improve the transparency, accountability, and effectiveness. So for that particular thing, it needs continuous evaluation. Just would like to give an example that in my previous posting in excise department and all, so we have so much of data and information available. We need to refine it. We need to ensure that the information which we require for our IT solution, it has to be very much pertinent to that, and only relevant information only we are taking. So at the time of the designing, I think if we stress on this particular thing, for example, each and every character which is put in by the data entry operator or the user, which we are asking to put in certain information, it has to be uniform. So if we design our system like this, then the noise can be minimized to a large extent. We realize that we had all the teachers' details with the department, but it was meaningless because it could not be imported, or it was very, very different. So the time trade-off, it was there. So we had to maintain the quality of the data as well as the time constraints were there. So if we design our system before and towards this direction, I think this IT solution can be implemented very easily and effectively. Thank you.
Right, Mr. Shashwat. And I think I would like now to request now everybody for a 1 minute of closing remarks. And let me start with Mr. Mittal. Mr. Mittal, your closing remarks for this session, please.
I would like to mention, to conclude this, that data is new gold. So as we are careful in purchasing gold ornament, I think the whole, and preserving it, putting it in locker, safety. So the same attitude I have to deal with the data, even if I am doing it for public service. That is my.
Thank you, Mr. Mittal. I think there's one sentence is very important, and I would like to now request Mr. Adarsh Singh for closing remarks.
Yeah, I'll just like to reiterate that, as I said, while this is the way forward, this is the future, and we all should heartily accept this and move forward with it. In the government, especially at the lower level, we need some sort of transformation. We need greater sensitization, and we need a separate sort of architecture for dealing with the quantum of data workload that comes along with all of this. So we need to really think seriously about this now. Thanks.
Right, Mr. Adarsh Singh. Dr. Manoranjan, your closing remarks.
Yes, I would like to say that digital empowerment leads to digital engagement. And ICT is really, ICT interventions have the ability to transform the citizen's life. And for that process, we must inform them, consult them, evolve them, collaborate with them, and empower. Empowerment is the last thing.
Thank you, Dr. Manoranjan. And let us close the session with Mr. Shashwat Saurabh's closing remarks. closing remarks from you, Mr. Shashwat.
So I just want to just add that what I earlier said, that IT is definitely a tool which will not only engage citizen very effectively, but it brings in accountability and transparency. So we must strive for that, and all stakeholders must work together to get this direction so that citizens' welfare can be maximized. Thank you.
Right, so thank you. And we have speaker certificates to present as token of appreciation and gratitude from our side to all you speakers. Mr. Shashwat Saurabh, Special Secretary of IT and Communication and Secondary Education, Government of Arunachal Pradesh. Thank you so much for being here with us, Mr. Saurabh.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Mr. Prashant Kumar Mittal, Managing Director of National Informatics Center and Services and Corporation, NICSI, MIT, Government of India. Thank you so much, Mr. Mittal.
Thank you.
Mr. Adarsh Singh, District Magistrate and Collector of Barabanki, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Thank you so much, Mr. Adarsh.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And last but not the least, Dr. Manoranjan Puttal, Managing Director of Odisha Knowledge Corporation Limited, OKCL. Thank you so much, Dr. Manoranjan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Screenshot.
So here we close the session. All the audience watching us on live virtual 3D platform Avatar, please be with us. We'll be back at 11:30 with the next session. Stay tuned. Thank you so much.